Hello everyone, and welcome to Fresh Master Channel. Today, we are going to have some story from Reddit. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment down below. These simple clips mean a lot to the future of this channel.
I remember the day everything started to unravel. It was an autumn afternoon, the air crisp with a hint of decay that mirrored the state of my marriage. Back then, I believed in second chances. Or maybe I just feared being alone. The quiet evenings were filled with routine, and the silences between us grew longer, weighted by things unsaid. I spent those days convincing myself that love could outlast betrayal if I simply held on tighter. But no amount of effort could erase the memory of seeing her across the room at that conference, laughing too easily, touching his arm like I no longer existed. It was then that I began building walls around my heart, one brick at a time. I pretended not to know, not to care, but the truth gnawed at me like a slow poison. Life can sometimes throw our plans into disarray. That's why I've given up on planning entirely. Before my divorce, I constantly prepared for everything at work. I carefully arranged strategies to address any issues that might pop up unexpectedly in my department. I even had backup plans in place in case we couldn't use our regular emergency procedures. This morning, I got a call saying I needed to visit my ex-wife. I hadn't seen her in over a year and wasn't too eager to, but since my daughter asked, I knew I had to. My daughter, Samantha, Sammy as we affectionately call her, was firm. I climbed into my prized green Mustang Shelby GT 500 and began the drive back to town. Maneuvering through traffic-heavy highways took nearly an hour before I finally reached the town's hospital, where Sammy had brought her mother. I parked in the visitor lot, hoping I wouldn't be there long. When I called the support line, I learned my ex-wife Erica had been in the hospital for 2 days. An impatient nurse greeted me with a polite smile, guided me to her room, and let me know I could go in and wait. But Erica was still asleep. With her? I asked. Your wife? She started. I raised my hand to stop her. Ex-wife, I corrected. Very much ex-wife. I smirked. The nurse returned the smile, but her expression quickly shifted. Dad, are you really flirting with the nurse while Mom's in the hospital? My daughter said from behind me. Of course not, Sammy, I said. If I were really flirting, you'd know. I glanced back at the nurse. Bonnie, she offered. Oh, that fits. Doesn't it mean something like pretty or beautiful in Scottish? Or maybe Irish. As in she's a fine lass, I said, adding a playful Scottish accent that made Bonnie's smile grow wider. Are you talking about me? She asked. Yes, I am, I said. It truly suits you, as I said. That's when my daughter decided to break up our smiling exchange and steered me into her mother's room. The room had 4 beds, and it was possibly the most dismal place I'd ever been. It's awful in here, isn't it? She asked. I shrugged. How would I know? I said. I don't have anything to compare it to. Dad, this is the ward, Sammy said. They cram as many beds in here as they can. It's noisy. Sometimes it smells, and Mom deserves better. I shrugged again. Dad, she's only here because she doesn't have health insurance. Darren can't put her on his plan. The only one who could is... Her voice trailed off. I looked around and raised my hands, palms up. Who? I said. I'm retired. I'm a consultant who comes in when they need some advice. The company offered me a plan, so I took it. You could put Mom on your health plan, she said quietly. Sammy, sweetheart, I love you more than anything. I'd do almost anything for you. But you need to understand that your mother and I are divorced. I fulfilled everything the judge required when we signed those papers. I took out a loan to write her a check so she'd get every penny she was due, I said. Sammy looked at me as though she suspected I was hiding something. Honey, how many divorced people do you know who got every penny they were entitled to on time? People are always talking about missed alimony or child support payments, right? I never missed a single one. I gave your mom what she was owed, but not everything she wanted, she said softly. We stood at the end of the bed, looking at the woman sleeping in front of us. You know she never wanted a divorce, didn't she? Sammy asked quietly. She still loves you after everything. You know, Sammy, people in hell want ice, I said sharply. But they're stuck there because of choices they made. Your mom and I are divorced because of something she did when we were married. I know what she did, Sammy said. I was there when it all came out, remember? And I know she was wrong, but I can't shake the feeling that you two still belong together. Dad, she loves you so much. Just look at her. She's fallen apart these past 2 years. She doesn't look 50 at all. 2 years ago, she was 48 and could pass for 30. Now she looks like she's in her 60s. Some people just don't age well, I said coolly. But maybe she needs to take better care of herself. If she lets herself go, what do you expect? Dad, she needs her husband back, Sammy burst out. She needs to feel loved and cared for. That's why she's so drained. Is that why you dragged me out of bed? I asked, pretending shock. So I could find her a husband? Where's your compassion, Dad? Don't you have any left? Sammy asked. Is this what you wanted? To see the woman you vowed to love, respect, and cherish reduced to this, so you can feel like you won? Sammy, you don't understand anything about compassion, I said sharply. Think about what you're saying and who you're talking about. I put up with her behavior for years and stayed married to her. I gave her countless chances, but she just couldn't change. And don't forget, your loyalty to her nearly cost you your own marriage. Sammy closed her eyes and nodded, reflecting. At least 3 families were almost destroyed, all teetering because of the selfishness of 2 unfaithful people, I added. Maybe they're meant for each other. I allowed a small smile, and Sammy's eyes widened. Dad, you don't mean that, she said. I shrugged, looking at her with a slight grin. You're getting older too, you know, she said. Dad, don't you want more out of life than just driving that car too fast, traveling, and dating someone new every week? I responded with another shrug and my palms up. I love my car. Mustangs have always been my thing, I said. I enjoy traveling too. And as for the girl of the week, I've been seeing Shelley for nearly a year now. I do have a soft spot for redheads. Besides, you introduced us. But Dad, she said tearfully, don't you want someone to share your life with long term? Been there, done that, I said sharply. I really thought I'd found the one. I loved her so much, enough to swallow my pride and try to fix things. Even after discovering what she was up to, she just couldn't let it go. Dad, some women can love 2 men at the same time, Sammy said. And some men can accept that, I replied. The problem is, I'm not one of those men. Why am I even here, Dad? I've been here since we brought her in, Sammy said. I needed a break to go home, shower, and change. I want to see my husband too. Darren was great. He sat with her for a few hours yesterday so I could rest. But I can't ask him to do that again. You know he doesn't really like her. They were fine until I left things unresolved. Now, maybe he doesn't dislike her. Maybe he's just afraid that spending too much time with her will change you. And he loves you. So, do you really love me, Daddy? She asked. I always have. Always will, Angel, I said. Then why can't you be nicer to Mom for my sake? She asked. Why can't you just be kind to her, even a little? Because sometimes I can't find my heart, I said harshly. She tore it out while it was still beating. Sammy's eyes widened at the anger in my voice. I loved her, Sammy. I loved her longer than you've been alive. During those years together, I forced myself to stay calm. No, Sammy, I can't be friends with her. I can't move past it. There's no burying the hatchet unless it's buried in her forehead. I don't even know why I'm here now. Dad, have you gotten your closure? She asked. You've already broken her spirit. What else do you need? Sammy, I didn't seek revenge on your mother, I said. I walked away. I just left. I know, Dad, she said, but I still don't get it. So many things haven't made sense these past 2 years since the divorce. So many things I can't figure out. Like what? I asked. We split everything evenly except for the house. It just doesn't add up, she said. Mom didn't need all these things. She just wanted you. And it seemed like you should have had more money than you did. Mom's lawyer even went over our finances, I shrugged. So why are you driving a custom Mustang my husband says costs at least $50,000 when Mom can't even afford a car? She asked. Maybe I have better credit, I said. Anyway, I'll stay here and play games on my iPad while she sleeps for a bit. I'll give you a break, sweetheart. If she wakes up, I'll call you right away. What's the point? Handle it, Dad. Mom's been diagnosed with severe depression. She's on medication for it. For some reason, she took all her pills at once. We had to pump her stomach. She wasn't eating well and was drinking too much. She's exhausted and dehydrated, and we still don't know if it was accidental or intentional, Sammy said. So she probably won't wake up, right? I asked, smirking. That's right, Sammy said. But Dad, if she does, please be kind to her, for me. Okay, Sammy, I said. She kissed my cheek and left. I sat in the chair next to the bed and pulled out my iPad. I started reading but quickly lost focus, my mind drifting back to how it all started 2 years ago. We do strange things for our children. When Sammy was little, she always tried to cook, mixing together all kinds of different candies. I love my daughter more than anything in the world, so no matter what she made, I'd eat it and tell her it was the best thing I'd ever tasted. I remember when she invited her mother and me over for dinner. We had a nice evening, even though Sammy still couldn't cook very well. The roast was dry as the Sahara. I suspected Darren knew it too, because he kept topping off my drink whenever it was half full. It's a good thing I'm not a big drinker, or that roast could have turned me into one. It was a pleasant evening with family, the kind you wish could last forever. I spent time with my grandson, John, Sammy's 2-year-old, whom she and Darren named after me. He was a mischievous little boy, but in his grandpa's eyes, he could do no wrong. The best part of the evening was when Sammy and Darren announced that she was expecting again. "Darren, what are you doing to my daughter to keep this up?" I joked. We chatted about the usual topics when a baby is on the way. Everything seemed perfect. We even discussed potential names. If it was a girl, we all agreed on Elizabeth, after Darren's mom. I suggested Peter for a boy, after Darren's dad, which he liked. Then, everything changed. "You already have one grandchild named after you, darling," Erica said. "Why not let someone else have that honor for this one?" "What do you mean?" I joked. "Let me guess. You want to name them Erica if it's a girl and Eric if it's a boy, right?" "Actually, I was thinking about Randall," she said. "We could call him Randy for short. Randall James Dillon sounds like a strong name." Suddenly, the room felt cold. Sammy turned and looked at me. "I don't know, I don't like it," she said. "I prefer Dad's suggestion, don't you, Darren?" Darren, still smiling at the thought of his father's joy, hadn't noticed my reaction. He nodded. Erica reached out for my hand, as she often did, and I pulled away almost too forcefully. Sammy hadn't noticed my expression. "What do you think, Dad?" she asked. In the coldest voice I'd ever used with her, I replied, "I think if you use that name, it'll be just as big a mistake as what your mother just did. You know those scenes in movies or on TV where everyone is having fun, music is playing, and suddenly someone does something that makes everything stop? It felt exactly like that moment, complete with the imaginary sound of a needle scratching a record. For what seemed like an eternity, but was really only a few seconds, there was silence. Darren finally broke it, trying to be diplomatic. He glanced at his watch and said, "Wow, I really need to get to bed. I have an early meeting tomorrow." "Thanks for the evening, Darren," I said. "Love you, Sammy." I stood up and headed to the door. As I opened it, Sammy called after me. "Dad, what's wrong with you? Are you forgetting something?" "Hug me, Sammy," I said. "I need to leave. I can't breathe." "I meant Mom," she laughed. "I thought you didn't drink, Darren. What have you been giving my dad all night?" "It was just Pepsi, honey," I said, "although I could use something stronger now." "What's going on, John?" Erica said, approaching. She reached out again, and this time I moved away so clearly that everyone noticed. "We'll talk about it at home, sweetheart," she said. "No, we won't," I said sharply. "I'm going back to my house. I don't know what you'll do or where you'll go, but it won't be with me." "Wait, Dad," Sammy said. "Are you upset with Mom over the name?" Erica's eyes widened as she realized I knew. "No, sweetheart," I said. "I'm not upset or angry. I just woke up to reality. Sometimes the people you love hurt you and you endure it. You stay silent, hoping that if you just wait it out, everything will improve. But then something happens that makes you realize it was all for nothing. Some things can't be overlooked." Everyone stared at me, except Erica. She already knew what I meant. "Dad, you're not making sense," Sammy said. "Sammy, your mother wants to name my grandson after the man she's loved for the last 15 years, the man she had an affair with. She found out a few days ago that he died. Now, she's trying to keep his memory alive through my grandson." Both Sammy and Darren turned their eyes to Erica, who had collapsed to the floor, quietly sobbing. "I'm so sorry, John," she said. "It's over. It ended more than 5 years ago. I tried to be a better wife to you." "Why did it end, Erica?" I asked. "Because I felt guilty," she said. "I knew it was wrong, so I stopped." "Can we talk about this?" "First of all, it wasn't a full-blown affair. We only met once a year, and it wasn't always physical. And whenever I came back home, you and I always had the best times together. It ended a long time ago. I love you, John. We need to discuss this. You don't fully understand. It's not as terrible as it seems." "It's worse than you think, Erica," I replied sharply. "Maybe after the divorce is finalized, you'll finally be honest. I'm done with your lies." "What are you saying?" she asked. I confessed. "Erica, if you could, you would still be seeing him," I said. "I told you, I ended it," she replied, her voice rising. "And yet you're lying again," I said. "I'm done." "Done with what?" she asked. "I went to Boston and met him 5 years ago," I said. "I beat him so badly that he ended up in the hospital. Before you boarded your flight, I took his phone and read all your messages. I might use them as evidence. I also made sure he knew who I was and warned him that if he ever came near you again, it would be his last day on Earth. I even said I'd inform his wife about your relationship. I told him that if he ever reached out to you again, even as a friend, I'd come back. That's why it ended, Erica." "I did end it, John. I'm sorry," she said. "I was wrong, confused. It was a mistake." "I'm sorry too, Erica," I said. "I was wrong as well. I was confused. I made a mistake by trying to save this broken marriage. I did it for Sammy, so she wouldn't have to endure our divorce while she was still young. I thought that over time, because I loved you so much, We might move past this. I was wrong. Instead of ending it then, I forced it to work. But you were right about one thing. You did end something. From the moment you said his name that night, our marriage was over. I left the house, got into my car, and drove off. I spent hours just driving. The roar of my Mustang and the rush of speeding down dark, moonlit roads dulled some of the pain. I turned off my phone to avoid any interruptions. Oddly, I wasn't as devastated as I might have expected. I had known about her behavior for over 5 years and had been preparing for this moment ever since. In many ways, the most shocking part for Erica was realizing that I had known about her deception all this time, and secondly, that she only found out that night why it had ended. She had flown to Boston for a conference, the same one she attended every year. She booked a room at her usual hotel. The conference was a one-day workshop, though she always told me it lasted 2 days. After the event, she had dinner with Randall. They stayed at the restaurant talking until it closed, and she even mentioned me a couple of times. After the restaurant closed, they shared a light kiss, and she returned to her room. Randall walked to the parking lot to get to his car. When he got there, I was sitting on the hood. "Hey, this is my car," he said. "Sorry," I said. "It's wrong to touch things that don't belong to you, isn't it, Randy?" "I couldn't agree more," he said. "Is that one of my hubcaps?" "Yes," I said with a smile. "I took it myself. But let's not talk about hubcaps, Randy. Let's talk about Mary, your wife, who's waiting for you at home on Sycamore Street. It's probably too late for me to visit her now. Maybe I'll see her tomorrow." "I'm calling the police," Randy said. I pulled out my phone and held it out to him. "Go ahead, Randy. It'll be my word against yours, and you'll lose, because somehow it'll come out that you were spending time with my wife, Erica, while your faithful wife waited for you at home." Randy's face went pale. "I'm not that kind of guy, Randy," I said. "I think you're mistaken," he said. "I do know Erica, but we haven't been spending time together." He looked into my eyes and saw that I was serious. "Okay, we had dinner tonight. We were discussing interesting points from the conference and just lost track of time. But that's all. Nothing else happened." "Phew," I said. "You scared me there." He gave a small smile, relieved that I seemed to believe him. Then I punched him as hard as I could. He went down like a bowling pin. He got up and tried to run, so I threw his hubcap at his feet. He tripped over it and fell again. When I was done, both of Randy's eyes were swollen shut. His nose was broken, and his lip was split. "You really scared me, Randy," I said. "For a moment I thought I couldn't go through with it. I know you only had dinner tonight. But what about last year, or the year before? How long has this been going on?" "Maybe 15 or 20 years, he muttered, his words barely audible through his swollen lips. "It's over now, Randy," I said. He nodded quickly. "If you ever mention your name again, I will ruin your marriage and your life. Do we understand each other?" He nodded again. "Don't visit her," I continued. "No texts, no calls. There won't be any more warnings." "I understand," he said. "Randy, next time we speak, it won't be so civil," I added. It seemed to have worked. When I got home, Erica was acting the same as usual. After the conference, she tried to make it up to me with Zex, but I didn't give in. Normally, we would go on vacation together after the conference, but this year I pretended to be too busy. Despite my efforts, I couldn't shake off what had happened. Most of my thoughts were consumed by anger. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a heavy metal band called Judas Priest. Their best album is Screaming for Vengeance, and that's exactly how I felt. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't calm down. I wanted blood. I wanted someone to pay for the pain I'd suffered. If misery loves company, then I sure as hell wanted someone else to feel it too. And that someone was Randy. Through some business connections, I orchestrated his firing. I didn't make it obvious, didn't let him know it was me. But it felt good knowing it was done. I didn't regret it. It gave me the same twisted satisfaction as doing something good for Erica while silently destroying Randy. I had spent the last 5 years of my life doing just that. At the same time, I knew a divorce from Erica was inevitable. Why didn't I just confront her and file for divorce? Despite everything, I still loved her. Deep down, I wanted to believe her and give her another chance. But my mind, much like at work, told me to prepare for anything. I told Erica there was a pay freeze at work when, in reality, I'd gotten a promotion. After a few months, I got another promotion I'd been working for over the past decade. I didn't tell Erica my salary had almost doubled. I moved most of the extra income into accounts she didn't know about. 2 years later, I got another promotion and another raise. Again, I said nothing to Erica. The reason for all this secrecy was that if we divorced, she wouldn't have the slightest idea of my real income. She'd think I was still making $40,000 a year, and the divorce would be based on that figure. And yes, I know all the legal experts out there will say there's no way I could get away with this without consequences. A good lawyer would ask for my tax returns and talk to HR about my salary. The thing is, my boss was devastated by his own divorce and didn't mind helping me out. In the company records, I was listed as a middle manager. No one questioned it. All the other managers reported to me and I reported directly to them. It seemed normal. 3/4 of my actual salary was paid regularly to a company that looked like one of our suppliers. I wasn't a director, nor did I own it. The directors were all my fishing buddies. In exchange for using their names, I'd take them fishing a couple of times a year. They were all listed as volunteers, so there were no tax implications for them. The money went straight into my offshore account, untraceable after that. There were a few times when I withdrew money. Once, after Sammy and Darren got married, I made a large down payment on their house to help them start their life with less financial strain. I didn't buy the house outright, but I contributed enough to keep their mortgage under $100 a month. Another time, I bought Sammy and Darren a second car since they worked in different parts of town, and it made life easier for them. But even when giving gifts to the kids, I had to be cautious. The way I was able to help them with the house and the car actually worked in my favor and allowed me to give Erica even less. The money for their house was supposedly from my pension fund. This way, if we divorced, Erica would believe I had almost no retirement savings to claim. The money for the car came from a loan, further reducing my disposable income, so Erica would get even less. One of the best parts of my situation was that Randall worked in production, specializing in casting inspection. My company was a manufacturing business with plants all over the country. I had a private detective friend who lived in Boston. I asked him to keep an eye on Randy. Every time he got a job, I'd tell one of our account managers. If we had an account with the company he worked for, one of my friends would lunch with someone there and Randy would be fired. If not, we'd open an account and then he'd be fired anyway. I kept a spreadsheet on my computer dedicated to tracking Randy and all of his downfalls. Sometimes, I didn't even need to intervene. Over time, Randy's reputation in the manufacturing industry became so poor that he couldn't even secure an interview. Before he died, Randy's last jobs were in landscaping or as a day laborer. His struggles put a significant strain on his marriage. His wife went back to work to help support their family. I never interfered with her career because I had no issues with her. I also made sure Randy's children got what they deserved. I single-handedly helped his daughter get into law school, creating a scholarship just for her and awarding it to her. The scholarship ended the year she graduated, and she never discovered who funded it. Her grades were excellent, and she received multiple bonuses from her unknown benefactor during her studies. Randy's inability to support his family and his minimal contributions took a heavy toll on his pride. He was a proud man who wanted to be self-sufficient and take care of his family, so realizing he couldn't was a major blow. He turned to drinking, and it eventually consumed him. Despite that, he never became violent or aggressive towards his wife or daughter. But by the end of his life, he was just a shadow of the man he once was. I also reflected on how my actions had changed me. I was no longer the person I was when I first discovered my wife's infidelity. I used to be calm and friendly, open and honest. But learning that the woman I loved had repeatedly betrayed me shook me to my core. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a heartless person who took pleasure in systematically dismantling another man's life over one mistake. I still saw myself, John Forrest, the kind family man. Shouldn't villains have telltale signs? In the past, they all wore black hats. Maybe I should swap my Mustang for a black one. Yet, even as I considered these thoughts, I kept moving forward. I couldn't stop. My broken heart craved revenge more than it longed for healing. My soul demanded retribution far more than it desired forgiveness. As I watched Randy's life crumble, I kept an eye on Erica too. I realized I couldn't trust her anymore. It's a terrible feeling to lose faith in the woman you promised to love and cherish forever. But that's what her relationship with Randy did to me. It destroyed not just our marriage, but also my ability to fully trust anyone. So for 5 years, while I was silently pushing Randy down, I was also watching Erica and preparing for our divorce. Unlike most men who only have a few days or weeks to protect their assets, I had 5 years to get ready. Initially, I planned for more. Despite everything, Erica was still attractive, though that was starting to fade. When we divorced, I intended to wait until she declined completely, but Randy didn't last as long as I thought he would. Over those 5 years, I hid and saved as much money as possible. I didn't worry about the house we lived in because it didn't belong to us. It had been in my parents' family for generations. We lived there because my parents, who were still alive, didn't need such a large house. When the divorce came, I made sure the lawyers knew that my parents owned the house and let us live there rent-free. When Erica returned from the conference, she sent Randall a message about how much she enjoyed their dinner and how wonderful it was to kiss him. She mentioned missing the times they'd been intimate, but was glad they hadn't been this time. She felt guilty for cheating on me, just as he probably felt guilty towards his wife. She told him that their current relationship, romantic without intimacy, was better. This way, they could enjoy it for the rest of their lives without guilt. Maybe they were getting older and didn't need physical affection. Just being together was enough, and this way they could be together forever. She signed off with, "Until next year, my love." I read that message while waiting for my luggage at the airport. The urge to strangle Erica was overwhelming, and although I still felt some love for her, my feelings had shifted dramatically. Keeping everything under control became harder. When Erica got home, I was sitting in the living room watching a football game. She came over to hug and kiss me, but I pulled back, claiming I had a cold and didn't want to spread it. "Just make sure we're both okay by this weekend," she said, smiling. "Why? What's happening this weekend?" I asked. "We're going on our vacation, remember?" she said. "We always go after my boring conference." "Maybe you could take a mother-daughter trip this year," I suggested. "I really can't take time off work." "But it's just the weekend," she said. "You'd only need to miss 2 days. Think about it. 4 nights, 3 days in Hawaii, just us. We might not even leave the hotel room. I bought lots of things you'll like." I wondered how many of those things Randy would have seen if they had met sooner. "Erica, there's a wage freeze at work, and they're looking for any way to cut costs. I need to make sure they don't see me as an unnecessary expense," I said. "I understand," she said. "I'll call Sammy. Be in the bedroom 10 minutes after I go upstairs." She went upstairs, and I heard her talking on the phone with Sammy. At the same time, she sent Randall another message, asking if he got her previous one. It disgusted me. When I didn't go to the bedroom, she came looking for me, but I pretended to be asleep on the couch. Over the next few weeks, I composed myself. It was like a big performance, and I became a better actor than I'd ever imagined. We continued having regular intimacy. I don't know if Erica enjoyed it as much, but I certainly didn't. I no longer needed to focus on her because I no longer cared. I had to shift my perspective completely. Instead of seeing Erica as my wife, whom I loved, I began to view her as just someone I had physical relations with. It was convenient, and she was available. Our interactions grew rougher and less tender, but also more daring. Erica had always been quite reserved when it came to intimacy. During the period of guilt that followed her conference, when she needed to convince me that she was mine, she rarely turned me down. The next year, as the conference approached, I watched her closely for signs that she had contacted Randall. I checked her phone account online to ensure there were no calls from Boston. While there were no calls, she had sent several messages to his phone. She became more upset when Randall didn't respond. She even reached out to mutual friends, who told her he acted like he didn't remember her. The truth was, he did remember, but he was afraid. He knew that if he responded, I would either harm him or, worse, tell his wife and ruin his life. "So, you understand it's over," she said with a smile. "How do I know?" I asked. 5 years ago, you told him your love would last until one of you died. Well, that was only 5 years ago, and now he's gone. But maybe you meant it. You loved him enough to try to have Sammy name my grandson after him, even if it cost our marriage." "No, John, you don't understand," she said. "You chose to hurt me instead." "John, how were you hurt?" she questioned. "This went on for over 20 years. In that time, you and I probably were together over 2,000 times, and I cherished every moment. With Randall, there were at most 8 encounters, and they were all terrible. If I had put Randall above you, I'd understand the pain. But that never happened. If I gave you anything less than all of me or embarrassed you, I'd understand, but I didn't. I loved you too much for that. It was a once-a-year thing, far from home, where no one would know us. No shame for you. Even the year you confronted Randy and ended it, we had already agreed at dinner that it was better not to continue being physical, just to enjoy each other's company. This would have ended on its own. I wasn't going to meet him again that way. When I said it was better without guilt, that's what I meant. I was going to gently let him go. Next year, I wouldn't have met him at all. I would have changed my number, and it would have been over. No one would ever know. Just like when you go to car shows and models pose in your Mustang, it's just a nice memory. In our old age, you attacked an innocent man for no reason. John, he wasn't a threat to us, only to your pride. I wanted to name our grandson after Randall, not because I was in love with him, but to honor a special friend. A tear rolled down Erica's cheek. I clapped slowly. "Great performance, Erica," I said. "You must have practiced this while we were apart." Sammy, name the boy Randall James if you like. Randall James Dillon would make your mother happy. Sammy looked at me shocked. Dad, we're naming him Marshall after Darren's grandfather. Marshall Dillon, that's his name. I won't name my son after that man no matter what Mom thinks, Sammy said. Well, at least now you understand, Erica said. I wish you did, Erica, I said. It hurt because I loved you more than anyone. I loved you too much to share you with someone else. It hurt because despite what you claim, when a married woman sleeps with another man, she's rejecting her marriage. Some say one mistake isn't enough to break up a marriage, but I disagree. And this wasn't just once. You had an ongoing affair for years. You lied, misled me, and broke our vows. Even now, I can't fully trust you. I still follow you to ensure you do what you say. You've damaged our marriage in ways that haven't fully surfaced. Erica, how long have I had the Mustang I drive now? And what's special about it? I asked. It has more horsepower, she said. Anything else? I pressed. She looked confused. You've never been in it, I said sharply. I've had that car for nearly 4 years, and you've never sat in it. When we go out, we use your car or the SUV. I don't trust you, and I don't want you in my car, just like I don't want you in my heart. Erica began to cry. What can I do to fix this? It's been 5 years since it ended. Isn't that enough, John? Let's be fair, I said. What if I start seeing someone periodically for the next 20 or 30 years? John, I wouldn't like that. 2 wrongs don't make a right, she snapped. I didn't think you would, Erica, I said. There's a card on the table with my lawyer's contact information. Pass it to your next boyfriend. Try to find someone soon so this doesn't drag out longer than necessary. John, I don't want a divorce, she cried. It's been 5 years. Sammy, get her out of here before I do something I'll regret, I said. Sammy took her mother's hand and led her out. In the days that followed, Erica made every effort to talk to me, often with Sammy and Darren acting as mediators, as I no longer wanted to speak with her. I tried to tell Erica that she had her chance to speak, but I stayed firm. Neither of us realized her staying with Sammy and Darren was impacting their relationship. Erica cried often, leaning heavily on Sammy, who supported her. After weeks, this influence began to show, and Sammy even mentioned it. At a dinner with Sammy and Darren, I explained that even though Erica and I were separating, my relationship with them wouldn't change. I'd still visit, and we'd spend time together without having to choose sides or worry about upsetting anyone. Dad, is there really no way you and Mom can work things out? Sammy asked. I don't think so, I replied. Why, Dad, Mom loves you. She didn't do it often, and it wasn't with people you knew. You even confronted that guy. On average, it was less than once a year. Can't you just— That's enough, Sammy, Darren interrupted sharply. Darren, usually quiet, was decisive this time. What if it was me? What if I cheated with my secretary occasionally? Not daily, maybe once a month or less? Would it hurt any less if you found out when we were 50? Would it make it okay? Sammy looked at him seriously. You don't do that, do you? She asked. She's younger and attractive, Darren said. I was attractive until I had your kids, Sammy retorted. So because I'm not as slim, you cheat with Tammy? Sammy, one day she won't be beautiful either, and I'll be faithful again, Darren said. Sammy's eyes filled with tears. Sammy, I'm sorry, I love you and have never cheated on you. You're still the most beautiful woman to me. But I needed you to understand how your dad feels. It's worse for him because it lasted so long. I'm sorry, Dad, Sammy said. I listened to Mom too much. She convinced me it wasn't that bad, and I wanted to comfort her. Your dad even gave her a second chance when he ended the affair. He didn't punish her or make her feel guilty, but she couldn't let go of her feelings. Can you imagine naming your grandson after the man your wife cheated with? Your mom either doesn't respect your dad or thinks he's naive, suggesting that name was insulting. I think your dad is justified, Darren added. Erica fought the divorce fiercely. She tried to outmaneuver everyone and called me at work, saying she'd found her lawyer and would bring his contact info, stopping by before her date that evening. Erica, you don't have to do this, I said. Why interrupt your evening? Just give your lawyer my contact info. I don't have it with me, she said. I just remembered to call. I'm at the salon getting ready. I'll do it when I get home. Should I tell my lawyer you'll call in about 10 minutes? I asked. Why? You said you're at the salon. You've always been beautiful, Erica. They can't improve what's already perfect, I said. I have to go, she replied, probably in tears. Minutes later, my phone rang again. Dad, why do you always make her cry? Isn't divorce enough? Sammy asked. Sammy, what are you talking about? I asked. Mom called, then started crying. I checked and saw the call was from you. I explained the conversation to Sammy, who apologized. Dad, She wasn't at the salon or on a date. I think she was trying to make you jealous. Do you really think Mom is beautiful? I always thought so, Sammy, I said. Her looks and personality were what I loved most about your mom. You might not see it, but she's truly beautiful and charming. I loved her deeply, which is why I was so angry at Randy. He threatened the person who gave my life meaning. Then why not give her another chance, Dad? She asked. I did, honey, and it was the hardest 5 years of my life. Every time she left the house, I doubted where she was going and who she might be seeing. If she could have an affair across the country, why not nearby without my knowing? I love her, but I can't trust her. Remember when Darren joked about sleeping with his secretary? Did you stop thinking about it even after he said it wasn't true? Well, I don't have to wonder. Your mom actually cheated, and it wasn't a one-time thing. It went on for years until I stopped it. Without me intervening, she would have kept it going. Erica's lawyer pushed for counseling, and mine insisted I go. For the first 2 weeks, I read magazines during the sessions. The counselor asked why I didn't engage, and I told him it was pointless. The court could make me attend, but couldn't change my feelings. No amount of discussion could force me to stay married. It took 8 months, 3 times longer than expected. Erica's lawyer scrutinized my work records, suspiciously noting how prepared they were, as if I had anticipated this. He found everything needed, but missed the deeper details. The judge considered the house an asset since I didn't pay rent, adding a calculated value to Erica's share. I also had to pay $400 in alimony for 3 years. I gave her a check and claimed it was from a loan, choosing monthly payments to the bank over dealing with her. After the divorce, I took my first vacation, a cruise. I kept to myself, hiding in my cabin and avoiding attention. It was too soon for socializing. My second trip was to a ranch out west, but there were too many men, and it wasn't the experience I'd hoped for. The final trip was a road trip called the 66 Cruise, traveling Route 66 from Chicago to Los Angeles with various cars, events, and parties along the way. I used this time to bond with my Mustang, thinking of it as my companion. The drive gave me space to reflect on what I wanted for the next 20 or 30 years without Erica. Even though I knew my life would be better without her, my heart still hurt. I realized I wasn't just a lost, lonely, divorced man. I was part of a community, thousands of people with the same passion for their cars. When we come together, it's a special experience, each of us believing our car is the ultimate work of automotive art. At the start of the event, I stayed on the sidelines during the announcements. I was never alone unless I chose to be. Hey, buddy, your Mustang is gorgeous, an older man said. I had one before I switched to Corvettes. How much horsepower does it have? At every stop or meal, people approached me to chat about cars and shared interests. Some even debated whether foreign cars belonged on Route 66. I tell them, cars are cars. There's room for everyone. Most agreed, and one older man joked that car lovers should unite against motorcyclists. I steered clear of that conversation. I also met some passionate women on the cruise. One had divorced her husband when he claimed her classic '69 Camaro was his. When friends caught her working on it, he was so embarrassed he told her to choose between him and the car. She chose the car. I connected with some women I thought would make great friends, but I wasn't ready to replace Erica. Still, it made me realize life could go on and that I might find a partner again. I returned home feeling different, more content, and loving my Mustang even more. That's when I saw Erica at a mutual friend's wedding. The sight of Erica shocked me. She looked thin, gaunt, with a severe hairstyle and tired eyes. Go say something nice to her, Dad, Sammy said, nudging me. Then I need to ask you a favor. I crossed the room. Hi, Erica. You've lost weight. Is this a new hairstyle? She spun around, eyes lighting up. Do you like it? She asked. I didn't want to become inactive and out of shape. You've always been beautiful to me, I said. Focus on what makes you feel good. Your long hair always framed your face and brought out your best features like your eyes and dimples. Her smile returned. And you don't need to diet. Forget fashion trends. Whoever's next will agree that women with curves are better. Go have a burger. As I walked away, Erica looked stunned, watching me for the rest of the night. I kept my distance subtly. The next day, Sammy called. Dad, you were great at the wedding. Mom seemed happier than she has in a while. She even ate a full meal. She said, Dad will probably like me better if I have curves again. What did you tell her? I just said she's beautiful and shouldn't worry about dieting, I replied. She's 50 like me. She doesn't need to be thin. Whatever, Dad. I need your help, Sammy said. Relax, she laughed. It's not about Mom. I have a friend who needs help passing algebra and trigonometry. You were great at tutoring me in school. Don't they have tutors? I asked. Dad, she works nights and can't make most sessions. Shelley is unique. Can you try for me? Besides, you don't have much else going on. I went to meet my daughter's friend. She had red hair, and at first I thought she looked heavy. Sammy mentioned that the woman had a condition and struggled with self-esteem. She was quite reserved and seemed unsure of herself. On that warm day when we met at a Starbucks downtown, she brought her book, and I started explaining the parts she didn't understand from the chapter their class was covering. Unfortunately, she also had difficulty with previous chapters, so I suggested we go back a few chapters to strengthen her understanding of the fundamentals before catching up with the class. She agreed, and we planned several study sessions throughout the week. For some reason, she started to really like me, and I began to wonder how her condition, whatever it was, affected her. The next time we met, still at Starbucks, we worked for about 3 hours before she became a bit frustrated. This continued for several weeks, and we grew more comfortable with each other. I often lost track of the conversation or found myself drifting off while looking into her eyes. Finally, one day before a Thursday afternoon class, I asked her if she'd like to come to my house. The weather was warming up, and I told her we could do 2 sessions on a Saturday afternoon before she had to leave for work, making it more convenient and comfortable without a coat. She looked at me and smiled. "I'd really like to study at your house," she said. "Not sure about the coat, though. I wear it for my safety and yours." "Shelley, I'd never make you feel uncomfortable," I said. "You know this by now. You can't control how you were born. Physical conditions are nothing to be ashamed of." She laughed. "Who told you I'm deformed?" she asked. "Sammy said so," I replied. "Mr. Forrest," Sammy was joking. "I'm not actually deformed, unless you look at it that way. I guess I'm just heavy." "Then there's no problem," I said. "Oh, but there is a problem," she said. "Do you have a computer?" she asked. I looked at her puzzled. "Google Mel Malloy," she said. "Watch the video. I have the same issue. I'll call you tomorrow to plan for Saturday." As she walked away, she touched my arm, and I realized I had a dilemma. This woman couldn't be older than 30. To me, she was just a kid. When I got home, there were 10 messages on my voicemail, all from Erica, my ex-wife. We had been divorced for almost a year, and I couldn't figure out why she suddenly wanted to talk. The phone rang, and I expected it to be her, but it was Sammy. "Dad, everything is messed up, and it's my fault. What are you going to do?" she asked. "Wait, honey," I said. "What do you mean?" "Mom," she said, "remember when I made you say nice things to her at the wedding? Well, she lost it. She started eating again and did her hair like she thought you liked it. She thinks she can win you back, and it's my fault. Dad, I don't know what happened between you two, but I think you like Shelley. I know she's young for you and has some issues, but she's really a good person. Just be kind if you need to let her down. You don't want to know what she deals with at work." I didn't want to make a mistake with Erica. I was glad she was coming out of her depression, but I couldn't see myself with her again. Too much had happened. On the other hand, Shelley fascinated me. What could possibly make her interested in me? She was beautiful. When we studied, I often found myself staring at her as she worked through problems. Her smile was captivating. Her lips were full, and I wondered what it would be like to kiss them or gently graze them. It seemed like my life was a cycle of highs and lows. For nearly a year, I hadn't met or spoken to any women other than those I encountered while traveling along Route 66. Now, 2 women were interested in me. One I didn't want and one I couldn't have. While I mulled over my situation, I turned on my computer and searched for the name Shelley had mentioned. I found a lot of results and questions. There were terms I didn't recognize. What on earth is POG? I watched a video. It turned out to be a vlog of a woman trying to lose weight. She was quite attractive and somewhat resembled Shelley, but it wasn't her. The hair and facial features were different. Was Shelley trying to tell me she needed to lose weight? Was that a concern? It wouldn't matter to me at all. I started watching some earlier videos, and after a few, I was stunned. The only person who thought this woman was heavy was herself. She had an incredibly curvy figure that no man would call overweight. She had a perfect body, full curves, a tiny waist, and striking proportions. As her videos continued, she spoke less about dieting and more about her interactions with the viewers, showing more of herself as her audience grew. The less she wore, the more attention she received. I was taken aback. I picked up the phone without thinking when it rang. "John, would you like to come over for dinner to see your daughter, son-in-law, and grandkids? I'm making a roast, just how you like it, with carrots and potatoes," Erica said. I wasn't sure what to say. I'd always told everyone I wanted things to be easy and comfortable so the kids wouldn't feel awkward about inviting both of us. So I said yes. I went over expecting a relaxed family dinner. When I arrived, Darren was in jeans and a t-shirt, and we chatted for a bit. Then Erica came downstairs, dressed up in a new dress that showed her legs. She'd gained some weight since the wedding, but she looked healthier. Her hair was down and flowing, and she looked better than she had at the wedding, where she'd worn too much makeup and had stiff hair. She smiled at me and sat next to me. "The roast will be ready in 20 minutes, she said. "Sammy is upstairs trying to get the kids ready for bed." She took my hand and looked at me. At that point, Darren decided to go check the wine for dinner. "Will we have wine?" I asked. That set the tone for the evening. I found myself alone with Erica often, who kept smiling at me. The food was delicious. When you're used to someone cooking for you for so long and then it stops, you learn to appreciate it even more. I thought about the last time we all had a roast dinner together, the time Sammy's dry fries nearly did us in, and Erica brought up naming our grandson after Randy, which led to our divorce. After dinner, Sammy got up to do the dishes, and Darren helped her. Erica suggested we go for a walk or sit on the porch. "If we were at home, we'd be out on our veranda," she said. "It feels like another life, but it's only been a year." "It really does feel like a long time ago," I said. "John, have you been with anyone since our divorce?" she asked. "Of course," I replied. "Plenty of times." "Oh," she said, sounding disappointed. "I guess I deserve this." "What do you mean?" I asked. "I haven't been with anyone since us. I didn't even try." "So you're just having fun, or?" "No," I said. "I'm seeing someone." I smiled. She looked down at her feet, and I thought she might cry. "Who is she?" she asked. "It's not a woman," I said with a chuckle. She looked shocked. "Who are you with, then?" she asked. "With you, Erica," I said, laughing. "What did you expect? We were married for so long, and I loved you deeply. It would take time before I could just move on and be with someone else. It would take time to get over you, to find someone new and create memories that could replace the ones we made in our last years." "Why would you want to replace them?" she asked. "It was a good time for you, Erica, but it was hard for me. I loved you more than anything, but I knew you were unfaithful. I knew you betrayed me repeatedly. You knew I was committed to you, but I had to share you, and in those moments, he was more important to you." "It wasn't like that, John. Never," she said. "You don't see it, do you? There was never anyone else for me. I loved you as much as you loved me. I still do. I only slept with Randy a few times. He's gone, John. There's no reason to bring him up." "You're right," I said. "But why did you mention it then?" "I didn't," she said. "I just asked if you'd been with someone, and now we're arguing like usual. I wanted to ask you something, and it went off track." "Maybe we should change the topic," I suggested. "Or maybe we shouldn't talk at all. Let's just appreciate the evening with our family and leave it at that. Maybe I'll see you around." Tonight wasn't so bad. We made it through dinner without a big argument. That's a step in the right direction. She nodded, but her expression showed she didn't agree. Her eyes were tight as she tried not to cry. "It's a beautiful night," I said, shifting the conversation. "You know what would make it better?" she asked quietly. "A cold beer," I said. "I was thinking we could go back to your place," she said, "and be together." I choked and took a deep breath. "Erica, neither of the boys would be happy about that, and neither would their grandmother," I said. "Why wouldn't I approve?" Erica asked. "I'd love it. After all, after months of you dating and living here with that grandma blow-up doll, you better be ready for more than a kiss when we leave here." "I didn't mean you," I said. "You mentioned their grandmother," Erica said sharply. "Don't tell me you're thinking of moving in with Darren's mom. Her husband only passed 2 months ago, and you never liked her much." "No, I was talking about Grandma, as you called her. When Shelley and I get married, she'll be their grandma too," I said. Shelley and Erica both looked stunned. "But Dad, Shelley is barely older than me. She can't be my stepmother. The main reason I introduced you to was because you both needed someone at that point to help ease the pain. It was never supposed to be permanent. Well, you did a great job because I love Shelley. She loves me, and we're committed. We're also going to be parents, so... Sammy, you're going to have a new sibling, and the boys will have a new aunt or uncle. As for you, Erica, I'm not sure what that makes you. Maybe their ex-grandmother or step-grandmother. We'll figure it out as we go." "Is this part of your revenge?" Erica asked. "Is that what this is about? You fought Randy but never retaliated against me. Now, you got this girl pregnant just to hurt me because you wanted me to feel the pain you think I caused you." She sat up in bed. "Do you even realize how serious this is?" she said, raising her voice. "You could be tied to her for the rest of your life, at least until the child grows up. Did you really need your revenge that badly?" "Erica, stop thinking only of yourself," I said firmly. "When I found out about you and Randy, I did beat him up. And that wasn't all. I handled the rest quietly. At the time, I thought I was seeking revenge, but it left me feeling empty. When he died, I wondered if it was because I targeted the wrong person. Randy didn't betray me. You did. Randy didn't promise to be faithful to me. I couldn't hit you or do anything to you, Erica, but I couldn't stay married to someone I didn't trust. Our divorce wasn't an act of revenge. I just couldn't live with that mistrust. It took me a long time to realize that what I was expressing wasn't anger about revenge. It was longing for love, and I found that with Shelley. "I'm glad you're doing better, Erica," I said. "If this was some kind of scheme to get me to the hospital so we could reconcile, it was pointless. But you're both welcome at the wedding." I left the hospital feeling much better than when I arrived. As the door closed, I heard them arguing over who would pay the hospital bill. It didn't matter, but I knew it wouldn't be me.